So, of course, I already said earlier, I am a Sixers fan, so previewing the Sixers season coming up, will they make the playoffs in the East? I think they will. I definitely think they will. It's not a guarantee. Again, it's really going to come down to how healthy they are. I think the most important is Joel Embiid. He needs to stay healthy, which he's proven he cannot do yet. He's going into his fourth year, which is technically his second year. He only played 31 games last year, I believe, out of the 82 games. So, and that is with a minutes restriction. So, hopefully, over this summer, he's gotten fully healthy, and we'll see moving forward with Joel Embiid. But with all this young core of the Sixers, Simmons, Fultz, Embiid, I think Ben Simmons is going to win Rookie of the Year. That's what I personally believe. I think if it's not Ben Simmons, it's going to be Markelle Fultz. I understand they're both on the same team. The thing with Markelle Fultz is I just haven't seen enough of him. His team in college didn't win as much as you would expect the first pick in the entire draft to win. Same thing for Ben Simmons, though. LSU, when he was there, they didn't even make it to the tournament, which really surprised me when I initially learned about him. So the Sixers, I think, can make the playoffs. I love their addition of J.J. Redick. I love what the coach is doing, Brett Brown. I'm excited to see what their lineup is looking like. So, as for the rest of the East, I think if the Sixers were in the West, I don't see them making the playoffs, at least yet, maybe 2 or 3 years from now, because their best players are so young and haven't proven anything yet outside of Summer League if you're thinking Ben Simmons. But I mean, if you think about teams in the East, who do you got that's better than this Sixers roster, which is looking pretty strong? I mean, you got the Cavs, the Celtics, the Raptors, the Wizards, and outside of that, I don't really I see the Sixers in there, like 5, 6, maybe 7 seed if they stay healthy in the East. So that's how I feel about the Sixers right now. I'm gonna of course touch on them when as we get closer to the regular season. I have to see how they look in the preseason. If they play everybody, I doubt Embiid's even gonna play in the preseason. But I wanted to talk about next the new look Cavaliers. This is a very interesting topic. I understand it's been talked about a ton lately. Not only with the Kyrie thing, but with the addition of Dwayne Wade, sorry, I got a text message. The addition of Derrick Rose. I think the Cavaliers improved from last year heavily. Here's why. I understand you lost Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, I think he's a top 10 offensive player. That's very important, that just offensive. Not all around. All around, I don't know if I would say he's in the top 20, but look who the Cavaliers got back in place of Kyrie Irving. So you have Isaiah Thomas. I understand he's injured. He averaged 30 points a game last year. He will rehab and come back. I don't know if he'll be fully the version of himself that he was last year, and I understand that he's not getting any younger. He's definitely older than Kyrie by, I believe, 5 years, 4 or 5 years, and he's considerably smaller. As far as defense, though, I don't think Kyrie did much more on defense than Thomas did. Thomas scored more points per game. Thomas proved that he can win. He himself, well, not by himself, but the Boston Celtics were the 1 seed last year. That was mostly because of him. He led them in scoring. He was their closer. Without him, they're not the 1 seed last year. So, Isaiah Thomas, Derrick Rose. While Thomas is out, Derrick Rose is going to get the opportunity to start. I think this is going to be Derrick Rose's best year of his career since his MVP time on the Chicago Bulls. I know that sounds really bold, but hear me out. I think I think Derrick Rose had an underrated season last year. In the last 3 years, he has played over 160 games. That is the most games since he's played since his first 3 years. So I think it's time to put all those jokes about injuries with Derrick Rose to rest. This guy, last year, averaged 18 points a game, 4.4 assists, and he shot, I think it's important to mention, shot 87% from the free throw line. That is not anywhere near the MVP, Derrick Rose, but again, I think he had a solid season last year, and that is on the Knicks, who are a very lousy basketball team compared to the Cleveland Cavaliers, whom of which have the greatest passer in the NBA, in my opinion, on their team. So, with Derrick Rose paired with Dwayne Wade and LeBron James, and Derrick Rose, I feel, has a huge chip on his shoulder and something to prove. He's going to have a strong season, I think, especially since he's going to get to start for the first couple of months while Thomas continues rehab. And finally, I want to get to the addition of Dwayne Wade. So, I'm a little biased when it comes to Dwayne Wade. I grew up watching him. He's by far my favorite player. He's my hero. I would take Dwayne Wade over a lot of the younger guys that the Cavaliers wanted and couldn't get. And it's really important to point out that the Cavaliers acquired Dwayne Wade and Derrick Rose for a combined less than $6 million. Dwayne Wade and Derrick Rose, that is... I understand they're at stages in their career where they weren't once at, but you're talking about Dwayne Wade and Derrick Rose. In many cases, I would take the experience, the huge moments that they've been in, over a lot of these young players. So my final thing I wanted to touch on is I have a little preview. I made a top 10 list for the MVP. My MVP predictions for this upcoming 2017-18 NBA season. I ended up forgetting people, and I had to add them in later. So I have a top 12 list of players. I'm not sure if I should start at number 1 or if I should start at number 12. But I'll just go ahead and list them off. I have LeBron winning the MVP next year. In the next episode, I'm going to explain why I have each person in the spot that I do. But for now, I'm going to list the names. So I have LeBron winning it for obvious reasons. Then I have Kawhi Leonard at a close second. I think he carried the Spurs last year. LaMarcus Aldridge has not played up to expectation by any means, and outside of that, they really don't have too much talent. At third, I have Russell Westbrook. Fourth, I have Kevin Durant. Fifth, I have James Harden. I don't have James Harden as high because of the acquisition of Chris Paul. I understand James Harden was second place last year, but I don't see Chris Paul and James Harden gelling that great right away. They're both extremely ball-centric players, and they need to have the ball in their hands the majority of the time. So, who knows? It could go great. They could be the second best team in the West again next year, but we'll see. I don't know. Especially looking at the Thunder lately. So, yeah. LeBron, Kawhi, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, James Harden, and then I have Giannis in there, scratching at the top 5. He was by far the best player on his team last year. He could have been a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year last year. I think he was a top 10 MVP candidate last year. This offseason, Kobe Bryant challenged him to win the MVP. I think he's going to come into this year extremely hungry, and watch out for Giannis this year. After that, I have Anthony Davis. I have John Wall. I have Steph Curry, Karl Anthony Towns, Paul George, and finally Damian Lillard. So I understand that's 12 people. I'm gonna edit the list and fix it up, and then I'm gonna have a final official MVP preview list before the actual regular season starts. But I don't see it changing too much. I don't see anyone leaving this list or being added to the list. Maybe just move different orders. Yeah. So, yep. That's going to conclude the first episode of the DGreen Sportscast. My name is David Green, your host. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'm out.